Hello, princesses, and welcome back to Not Fit for Print Beauty with me, Rebecca. I hope everyone is having a really good holiday season. Since it is still December, we are still counting down some of my favorites from this year. And today we're going to count down something that I have had multiple requests for throughout the years. And that is a ranking of my 5 favorite powder foundations. Yes, powder foundations. Come here. I hate to interrupt this video from the future. Well, actually the present. See, the video that you're in the middle of watching, it was filmed towards the end of 2022 as a year-end favorites video, and things just got away from me and I wasn't able to release it, but I still think the video has its merit. I still really love these powder foundation products, but I didn't get a chance to release it before Makeup Forever released their new HD powder. So this Makeup Forever HD powder isn't in the video, and it kind of should be. So that video is everything from about early January previously and doesn't have this. And I think this Makeup Forever, I'll post my review below. I think this might be the new #1. But I still think that the 5 powder products I have in here, these powder foundations, are still well worth it and really good. And the video is not that old, let's be honest. So I wanted to release it anyway. I think it's still valuable, but please keep in mind that since then, this has been released and it's probably my actual favorite. Okay, let's go back to the past right now. And I didn't make sure to make this 2022 heavy, but we do have 2 entries from 2021. Why? That's not a year-end countdown, Rebecca. Well, as I said in my sheer tint countdown video, it is very rare that somebody looking for the most perfect product walks into a retailer and says, I need a powder foundation, but it better have been released in the past 6 months. Nobody does that. So I do have 2 from 2021 in there for my top 5 powder foundations. Now, what's the deal with powder foundations and who should use them and who should stay away from them? Well, no one really has to stay away from them, but it is true that powder foundations are really good for a few different types of people. Those with sensitive skin do better with powder foundation because it does. This sounds bad. I don't mean it as anything negative, but it does sit on top of the skin more than go in if you get irritated by ingredients. Therefore, acne-prone skin can do very well with powder foundation. Those who like buildable coverage, powder foundation when applied with a fluffy brush is really light, and when applied with a sponge in a flat way can be even heavy or full coverage. So it's good for that. If you tend to have some baby hairs on your face, you can actually put on powder foundation kind of in this type of form, and it will kind of hide that or texture. So powder foundation is good for that. It is obviously very good for oily or combo skin, but normal and even dry skin can wear powder foundation too. It's just about finding the right one. So these are my favorite 5, mostly from this year and a little bit from last. So let's go ahead and get into it, starting with number 5. Of course, we'll go backwards. My number 5 favorite powder foundation is from One Size by Patrick Starrr. This is the Turn Up the Base powder foundation. Comes in 32 shades and is $33. Comes in this red compact here. I'll tell you why it's number 5. Has a beautiful mirror and a compact here. It made the list, of course, because One Size is very underrated for their powders in general. They make a very nice powder, and I actually think that Patrick Starrr makes a really nice product with his One Size line, and I don't know if it's given necessarily the respect that it deserves, which is a shame. This is a good price for $33 for high-end makeup. It's not bad. Most of the items on this list, except for one that's luxury, are in this kind of a range. This is a medium coverage, kind of a straight out medium, but if you applied it with a fluffy brush, it would be a little less. It is matte, of course, and like I said, it kind of covers acne and pores and texture really, really well. Why is it only number 5? Well, making the top 5 at all is a good thing, right? There's a lot of powder foundations out there. The reason it is the last on my list, on my top 5 list, is I had a little trouble, even though there are 32 shades, I had a little trouble pinpointing mine and ended up having to mix 2. I mixed medium 1N and I think light medium to get my perfect shade, light, medium, neutral. And that's not a problem, but you know, it is a problem if you're buying 2. And I had heard some other folks had trouble finding their match in this one too. So that's why it's the lowest on my list, but it's a very nice powder. Number 4 is a 2022 release, as 3 out of these 5 are. And I had to have a product by this brand on here because they are kind of the GOAT of powder anything. That is BareMinerals. And BareMinerals released a powder foundation this year called the Bare Pro. It's a 16-hour wearing shade. Comes in 35 shades at $35. Again, this was released this year. This is a cute little guy. It has a sponge down here, then the compact here, and then a mirror, and it's nice and tight and packs away nice and easily and stays secure in your bag. Now, let me say, before we proceed to number 3 and talk a little bit about number 4, there are loose powder foundations. None of those made my list. I think Tarte has one and quite a few others. None of those made my list because to me, the fun of a powder foundation is that it packs away. It's super easy to use. I like to keep the sponge clean. In fact, I very rarely use it. If you're going to use it in your compact here, I do implore you to keep it clean, because there's nothing yuckier than seeing someone take out a dirty sponge. It just reminds me of, I've said this before, it reminds me of high school where all the girls would do their makeup and burn the edges of their eyeliner and put it in. Oh, it just used to terrify me with these dirty sponges. Some things just stick in your mind, good and bad, about makeup. So I didn't put any loose powders. All of these, I will say, continuing on, will be pressed powder. Also, shout out to the 1980s. Shout out to MAC Studio Fix, the granddaddy of all powder foundations, that was also used in my day, the same as these can be used, and that is to add extra coverage or remove shine to a regular old liquid or cream or whatever foundation. Today we're talking mostly about if you just want to wear this, but do remember that these are also great for touch-ups in your bag. Easy, especially if they're not loose powder. All right, so number 4 is the BareMinerals 16-hour. This one is the only one on here that's full coverage and matte. This one is transfer resistant. Yes, a powder foundation can indeed be transfer resistant, in case you were wondering. It can be applied wet or dry. If you apply it wet, you'll get a little bit of a more full coverage. And as I mentioned to you, actually, BareMinerals mentions this in their literature, that if you press down, you will cover textured skin and also any sort of baby fine little peach fuzz that you have. Number 3, this is our last of our 2021s. Number 3 is one I absolutely love. I really like this powder foundation. This is the Fenty Pro Filt'r Soft Matte. This comes in, typical of Fenty, 50 shades, so you will find yours, and is $39, which is around the price of most all of these. It is a medium coverage. It can be put on or applied, as any of these can. A light with a nice little quick puff, or you could with a fluffy brush, or you could put it on a little bit heavier. This is a great one for touch-ups. I think it wears well. It probably would make my number 1, but I really wanted to give those slots to 2022 releases. This is a lovely powder foundation. I don't always have success with Fenty's other complexion products, but this is a winner. And if you are looking to try a powder foundation, I really encourage you to take a look at it. Release in 2021. All right, let's get to number 2 and number 1, both 2022 products, one luxury, one mid to high end. So we've got 2 different things for you here. I wonder if you've guessed what they are. You might not have guessed what my number 1 is, but I bet you guessed this would be on there. And that is my number 2 choice. Put in number 2 only because it's a bit pricier. This is the Dior Forever Natural Velvet Matte Powder Foundation. This is one of our prettier ones. It is Dior, so it's $60, which is a little bit more. And this only comes in 8 shades, but they're very stretchy. 8 is a little different than Fenty's 50, I will say that. It is a beautiful, classy compact, and it opens this way. It's a kind of a little bit of a different compact than some of our others. So we have a lovely little fluffy pad that I just used, and we have the compact powder there and a nice mirror. It's super thin, as you can see, and very, very pretty. I wear 2.5N, which is my shade always in Dior, and it is just really pretty, but it is $60, so I put it at number 2 because some people just want to have something for touch-ups and they don't want to necessarily break the bank, and I understand that, but this is a 2022 release, medium coverage matte, really helps with dull skin. And get ready for this. For those of you who work long shifts, this Dior Forever Natural Velvet Foundation does claim to last 24 hours. I have never tested it for 24. It definitely gives the BareMinerals 16-hour run for the money. It's just a really good all-around product, and it just looks elegant in the case when you take it out of your bag to do a touch-up. All right, now for number one. I hate to do it because I tell you guys I end up unwittingly giving this brand so much coverage because they're so prolific, but gosh darn it, their complexion products are always winners. I don't love everything by this brand by any means, but their complexion products are always so nice. And that is the winner, my number one, is the Tarte Amazonian Clay Blurring Powder Foundation. It is what I am wearing right now on my skin. Comes in 21 shades, which is moderate but definitely doable, and is $39, which is about the price of most of the other products on here. It is medium coverage, was released in 2022, has a beautiful kind of opal case. I don't know if that's really showing here on camera. Nice and thin, easy to use, opens up, does have a sponge. I don't tend to use it. Can be applied super light with a fluffy brush, can be applied much heavier this way or with kind of a kabuki style brush, and is great for on-the-go touch-ups over regular foundation or just touching up as you go if your nose gets shiny or anything like that. The traditional, I have to go powder my nose, this would work for it. It just doesn't take up very much room. I think for the price, the amount of shades, not 50 granted, but in 21 shades, you will be able to find a good match with medium buildable coverage. This one works for whatever you need it for, whether you have sensitive skin, acne prone skin, textured skin, a little bit of peach fuzz, whether you just want to use it over your regular liquid foundation, or basically if you just have kind of a slightly oilier combination skin. I have normal skin and I've used it today and I don't look dry at all. I just moisturized first, put it on, so easy, so quick. And that is what I love about pressed powder compact foundations. Now, of course, these are not all of the good powder foundations out there. I just picked my top 5 that I've been using a lot this year. And like I said, 3 of them are from this year. But I would love to know what your thoughts are. What is your favorite ever powder foundation? And how do you feel about powder foundations? Do you like them? Have you ever tried one? So many of you have requested to see this video from me. So many people are interested in trying powder foundation and haven't. And so many of us think only of that MAC Studio Fix. Raise your hand at home if you were a lover of MAC Studio Fix. It is the kind of original of them all, really. Got to give credit where credit is due to MAC. So this is why we're a community. Definitely comment below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I sure hope that you did. And if you haven't already done so, make sure that you subscribe to this channel so we can keep growing into 2023. Come and say a big hello on Instagram and TikTok too. And don't forget that you can support this channel with super thanks and by becoming a member for fun only members content. And I will see you all in the next video, I hope. Bye-bye.